All right, does that work? Perfect. Hi, everyone. Hello. Welcome. My name is Suzana. In a few minutes, I'll be joined by my colleagues, Gully and Zeeshan, and we're so excited to be here today and talk about responsible AI. But more importantly, we are excited to show you what responsible AI means in practice and how you can safeguard your copilot with Azure AI. At Microsoft, we've been working on responsible AI for a long time, for many years now, and it's really a collaborative effort across research, policy, and engineering. And it's not all theory. We're building responsible AI and AI content safety technology and the tools, and we're sharing best practices and the learnings that we're using internally at Microsoft to develop our services, develop generative AI systems, but we're also sharing them with you, our customers and partners. Today, we're going to focus on the engineering part of things, on the tools that are available to you that you can use to build custom AI content safety solutions that are specific to your use case requirements for your copilot. And speaking of copilots, a copilot is really the ultimate tool that can help us work smarter, be more productive, we can accomplish more in less time. It can generate useful content, it can search the web and look for answers. It can really help us be more creative and unlock that potential and discover completely new possibilities. And the copilot is really designed to work where you do, everywhere where you do. And regardless if you were buying a copilot or if you're actually developing a copilot yourself, Microsoft is committed to applying AI responsibly in the services that we offer, but we're also committed to helping you develop custom solutions responsibly as well, built on trust and security with Azure AI as our common foundation. And that really means that you can innovate confidently and design with safety in mind from the very beginning while building on Azure's foundations that we all know, enterprise-grade privacy, security, and compliance. Now, let's take a quick look at the Copilot stack. The Copilot stack can help you conceptualize how to bring all of these components together. Next generation foundation models, safety and security, how to bring your own data, and powerful AI infrastructure. And speaking of AI infrastructure, as we're moving up the stack, we see that AI safety really spans all of these components, all of these layers, from the foundation model that you choose that is right for your specific application, for your use case, to that orchestration layer that spans many different things, from grounding your foundation model, to the system message that you can use for very specific, use case specific instructions, including safety instructions, to prompt and response filtering, your content safety system. That's the orchestration layer, all the way up to your Copilot front end, your application, and your UX. Now that we have very briefly seen the stack, let's take a very quick look at the Azure AI Studio, and I'll give you a quick tour. I'll switch back to the demo. All right. So now we can see here Azure AI Studio. And I'll just make it brief, but I'll give you a quick tour. There's a lot of interesting capabilities, a lot of interesting components that you can use, from browsing the model catalog here to benchmarks, our playground, to different tools that you can use, such as prompt flow, evaluation, and fine-tuning. But for the purpose of this talk and this demo, we're going to focus on the components right here, which are our deployments, our models, or our model that we choose, the data, our data that we bring, and our content filters, our content safety layer. Now, hopping here to the chat, we see, let me just maybe pick GPT 3.5 Turbo, but you can really use any type of deployment. You can browse the model catalog, any model that is available there. In this case, I'm choosing an Azure OpenAI model, GPT 3.5 Turbo. And we see here two more additional components. One is the system message, as I mentioned before. It is a very, very powerful tool that you can use to add like specific instructions to steer the model, including safety-specific instructions. We're going to keep this for now empty, but Luis is going to show us in a minute how this would look like. What we're going to do here is we're going to add our data. And for the purposes of this talk, we love camping, so we're going to build our Contoso camping app, and we're going to safeguard it. We're going to add content filters in a moment. So before we do that, I'll just add data to really ground the model. So the model is going to retrieve information from the data that I give it to. And I will ask it right away, if I can, to tell me more about hiking boots. I'm a big hiking fan. I don't know about you. I know it's a thing here in the Seattle area, camping, hiking. So I want to know more about the hiking boots that are available. And perfect. It'll return information grounded in the source data that I gave it to, plus a couple of references. Works perfectly. But we still haven't touched on safety. We still haven't touched on the system message here and the content filters, your very powerful safety layer that you can assign to your deployment. And before we do that, before we actually look at the demo, I'll switch back to my slides real quick. I want to take a step back and provide some context. How do we think about response-way AI? Because before we even get into what type of content filters do we need, it's really, really important to identify the risks that may be very specific to your domain, very specific to your use case even, to identify those risks and to measure those risks. And to give you a little bit of context how we do it at Microsoft, for instance, when GPT-4 was released, Microsoft brought together a group of experts to really probe that new technology. What are the benefits, what are the capabilities, but what are also the different limitations and the risk surfaces. And we really looked at all across these different dimensions. We looked at harmful content that may come in the form of natural language, might be coming in the form of an image, might be coming in the form of code. We're also looking at how do we make our systems actually robust to adversarial attacks. I'm sure by now we've all heard about jailbreak attacks, user attempts that are really looking to break the model, to manipulate the model, and to get it to really produce content that it's not supposed to produce and break its safety system rules, for instance. The flip side of the coin is prompt injection attacks that can also come in a different form as an indirect attack, where a third-party attacker might be integrating hidden instructions, hidden harmful instructions in documentation, in emails or other types of documents. Another very important aspect is model quality. How do we make sure that model responses are grounded, are not hallucinated, they don't contain errors or factually incorrect information, for instance, or what we heard yesterday, even maybe omit information that could also be harmful. Another important aspect that we're looking at, what are models generating? What types of completions? Is it copyrighted material? Is it IP protected material that we need to protect against? And lastly, an emergent area is human-like behavior. And that really means that we're working with natural language, and these models generate language that is very human-like. And there are important questions that we need to ask. When, for instance, is it appropriate for a model to be conversing, for instance, like a human, to be interacting like a human, versus when is it misleading? When is it inappropriate or maybe even harmful? So we're really looking across all of these different dimensions to identify, to understand capabilities, but also to identify risks and limitations. Next step, mitigations. Now we're going into the safety layer. And not only the safety layer, but one way to really think about this, and the framework that we use, is to think about mitigation in layers. So here we really see it starts with the foundation model that you choose. different models come with different maybe types of safety that is already built in to the core model. And choosing the right model is very important for your use case. On top of that is really the safety system, which can help you monitor and protect your model inputs and outputs, what we earlier saw with prompt and completion filtering. On top of that, could be very application specific, or using different types of safety templates is the system message, and different methods for grounding to ground your and direct its behavior. And as I showed you before, the front end of a copilot all the way up to the user experience to design for responsible human-AI interaction. A very quick example of a flow. So the safety system that I just mentioned, that layer on top of the foundation model, is your AI content safety layer that you can customize. In Azure OpenAI, for instance, there's a default safety layer that you can fully customize. And here we see an example of that flow of a foundation model that is deployed with a built-in safety layer. And it really means that this safety system runs automatically alongside your core model. It runs on prompts and completions aimed at detecting and preventing harmful or inappropriate prompts and completions. Well, so now we know how to think about it. We know how to conceptualize it. Now let's take a look at how this looks like in practice. And Andrew and Luis are going to show us how that looks like.
Thanks so much, Suzana. Hi, everybody. My name is Andrew, and I'm joined here by my colleague, Luis. And we're so excited to be here at Build today talking to you about responsible AI. So I'm going to share with you some of the features that we have available today in Azure, and also some new announcements that we're making in this product area that'll help keep your Copilot safe no matter who you're building for. So as Suzana mentioned, when thinking about the safety system for your Copilot, we take a defense in-depth approach. But before we even get to talking about that safety stack, we have one really important decision to make. We have to pick the model, right? So all models have some amount of built-in safety baked right into the foundation model. And model documentation or model cards that we have available in our service, well, that helps drive transparency and expectations around the model behavior to help you choose the right model for your application. However, now, announcing, we also have available for you in the model catalog the hidden layer model scanning service, which can help you determine if open source models are secure. And I have a little video right here.
Artificial intelligence has developed into a top cybersecurity risk for organizations. And with a shortage of proper tooling in education, open source model repositories are becoming prime targets for cybercriminals. Malicious actors are actively using repositories to distribute models that bypass conventional security measures, posing serious risks, including ransomware, supply chain attacks, and data breaches. Hidden Layer developed Model Scanner to address this very issue. Our proprietary, patented approach scans AI model layers, components, and tensors to detect tampering, embedded malicious code, cybersecurity vulnerabilities, and integrity breaches. Microsoft uses Hidden Layer's Model Scanner to scan open source models curated by Microsoft in the Azure AI Model Catalog. For each model scanned, the model card receives an attestation from Hidden Layer to verify the model is free from vulnerabilities, malicious code, and tampering. This means developers can deploy open source models with greater confidence and securely bring their ideas to life with Azure AI. Model Scanner is an important step toward a more secure, empowered AI development community. Learn more about the Hidden Layer Model Scanner at hiddenlayer.com.
Thanks, everyone. Pretty cool, right? I think that's going to really help all of you who are using the model catalog to deploy open source models to ensure that they're safe and secure. So getting back to core content safety concerns. So we use Azure AI Content Safety for our safety system across the Copilot stack. And so this is where our focus is today. So how Azure's Copilot safety stack can be used to safeguard your Copilot. Azure AI Content Safety detects harmful user-generated prompts and AI completions in your applications and services. So in real time, it can be used to improve the quality of outputs and give you some control over the type and tone of content that your applications are producing. It can also be used to identify potential instances of abuse or manipulation by end users. We've integrated the service directly into Azure AI Studio, Azure OpenAI service, and Azure AI machine learning services to help developers build safer LLM applications from the start, anywhere. Content safety can detect and filter unsafe and low-quality content across 4 key harm categories. Those are hate, sexual content, violent, and self-harm. And also, since no deployment is exactly the same, content safety filters can be configured, have configurable safety settings. So you can choose what's fit for purpose for your copilot, no matter which model you're using. So with that, introduce my colleague Luis here, and we're going to do some demos for you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Andrew. Hi, everyone. This is Luis. I'm the product manager of Azure AI Content Safety at Microsoft. But today, I'm going to pretend I have a new role. That is Luis, CEO of Contoso Camping, a local Seattle company who sells camping gear of outdoor enthusiasts. I'm actually building a new chat experience here on my website for customers so they can ask any questions about my products.
All right, so great to meet you, Luis. Thanks for being here. So tell me, what are some concerns you have about building a copilot for your website?
Yeah, well, I actually heard a lot about how large language models can output some harmful contents like violence or sexual content that's not really appropriate for my website or my brand. So am I overreacting?
Not at all, Luis. Look, this is something I hear from our customers all the time. And it's one of the great amazing things about LLM models. It's their flexibility to be creative. So that means no matter who you are, maybe you're a teacher, maybe you're a budding author who's writing scary stories, a copilot can help. We just have to guide it a little bit to make sure it's fit for purpose for your application and your users.
That's great. So can you show me something right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me show you here. So we're going to go into Azure AI Studio service. And what I happen to have right here is a deployment of GPT-4 Omni, our latest model offering. And this happens to be on a deployment with no safety filters enabled. So we have access to the raw model. So Louis, should we try something?
Yeah, well, you just mentioned about some scary stories. So how about we try, tell me something about Jack the Ripper?
Yeah, sure. Let's give it a shot. All right, here we go. Hey, wasn't that great? I love how fast GPT-4o is.
Okay, geez, I mean, it's not that bad, but I don't want people thinking my camping gear is going to be the part of the next plot of a scary movie, right? So what can we do to dial this back?
Right, so there's actually a lot we can do, but let's start with the content filtering system. So again, going back to Azure AI Studio, all we need to do is go into content filters, and we can select and configure the content filters that matter to our developers and matter to you in our application. So you see here, I've selected violent content, and I've selected the threshold that makes sense for us. And then also, Luis, I want you to know we now have streaming mode available too. So what this means is if you're particularly sensitive to latency in your application, this will actually send an asynchronous calls to our content safety system while simultaneously streaming back tokens to the user for a delayed content filtering system.
That's great.
So should we go ahead and try it out?
Yeah, try the same prompt.
All right, yeah. So I put this on put that content filter system onto the same deployment of the GPT-0 Omni system. So let's try it again. And look at that. That completion has been blocked from the system by Azure AI Content Safety because it recognized that it could be violent material.
That's going to help me sleep better at night. Thank you so much, Andrew. But I also heard about other concerns like jailbreaks. So how do I mitigate that?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked. Let me flip back over to A.
The A?
Yeah, great. So also available starting today in preview of prompt shields, which you heard about yesterday in Satya's keynote. This brings added safety and security to your copilot to block indirect prompt injections and direct prompt injection attacks before they ever impact your model or your system. And these are critical AI security features. So as you know, AI systems are becoming more complex and have added capabilities, such as the ability to interact with other services or even grab data from enterprise data stores. So we have to be thinking through about how adversaries could potentially gain control of our AI systems to either manipulate their behavior in ways we don't want, or even potentially use it as a path to exfiltrate data.
Okay, that sounds great. So what else you can help with with us? Can you show that?
Yeah, absolutely. So So jailbreaks, right? Jailbreaks are malicious attempts by users to try to gain control over the system. So let's say that we're developing this copilot and you only want it to respond to the user with information about camping gear. But if a jailbreak is successful, it might respond to anything.
That's right.
What do you think about that?
So I think that's great. That's great. Can you show
Yeah, let me
some
show
real
you.
done?
Oh, no. Second, guys. I need to grab my example here. Get back into the system. All right.
Okay, so it seems like you are trying a really popular jailbreak prompt right now.
So what we're going to do is I put back on a deployment, and now I have those jailbreak filters turned on.
Okay.
And we're going to try a simple jailbreak. Now, if this was successful, like I said, it would potentially gain control of the system, and so it will respond to anything. Let's see what happens when we send it to Copilot. And look at that. It was blocked by our content safety system because it was recognized as a potential jailbreak. Now, how does that make you feel about Contoso camping?
That's great. So that will stop people from getting around our safety system?
Well, nothing's perfect, but it'll definitely make it a lot harder.
Okay, got you. Now, I want to do another thing on top of that. What if I want the bot to only reply, like you said, only reply the content that is related to my camping products, not others?
Yeah, absolutely. We can do that too. All right, so Luis, check this out. So I mentioned previously that one of the new features we have available in Azure AI Studio is our default system safety messages. So what you can do is just one click. You can add Microsoft's recommended system safety messages right here, which is the system message for your deployment. Now I've taken an abbreviated system message here, and I've instructed the Copilot to only respond to questions about camping products. So should we give it a shot?
Yep.
All right, we'll use that same prompt.
Let's do that.
All right, and you can see here that Copilot has responded appropriately by not even engaging with the user. Isn't that powerful?
That's great. I should have noticed earlier.
All right, we just went over that system safety message. One more thing I'm announcing today is groundedness detection. The groundedness detection is a new feature available in Azure AI Studio that can help your prompts if you're in a RAG situation or you have data that's going into your Copilot to reason over. This will help detect hallucinations or information that's been added or taken away from the grounding data, so you can potentially mitigate that harm. Also, if your application, you're particularly concerned about the replication of IP or protected material, we have content filters that can block those too. All right, and finally, a build exclusive announcement I'm really excited to share with you today. Custom categories are coming soon to Azure. As I mentioned previously today, our content safety system is capable of filtering out 4 main content categories: harm, violence, sexual content, and hate. But what if you have another content category that's important to your application? So right now, you can build a custom model within Azure to help keep your deployment safe. And finally, all of our content filtering mitigations that I've talked about today will be available in a unified and central place in Azure AI Studio that's available for all Azure OpenAI deployments, including models in the GPT series family, GPT Vision, and DALL-E. That means you can create one content filtering system and deploy it across all of your models. So now I'm going to hand it back over to my colleague, Luis, who's going to tell us about these exciting products.
Yeah, thank you so much, Andrew. And now I will go to my part. Yeah, I'm switching back my role as a product manager of responsible AI, and I'm going to do a really quick demo showing about our new feature called groundedness detection. So right now we are in the playground of content safety in the Azure AI Studio. So as you can see that the groundedness detection actually detects or checks for ungrounded content generated by your large language models, and content, even is factually correct, is considered ungrounded if it cannot be verified against the grounding source or the source documents you provided. So in this case, I'm choosing my Azure AI services, and also I'm choosing a task right now. So currently, we are providing with you 2 tasks. One is Q&A, and the second is summarization. So let's go with the first. Right now, I'm clicking on an ungrounded sample. So in here, actually, is a person's introduction of herself. So like her age and also her salary. Like they pay 10 per hour. And then user can ask anything, right? They can ask a question about how much does she currently get paid per hour. And sometimes the GPT or the chatbot will give some incorrect answer. That's we call hallucination. And sometimes it's correct. So in this case, we are seeing the 12 per hour is obviously incorrect. Then we can run the test and we can see what happened here. Okay, so we can see ungrounded detection is work. And we can also see the highlighted parts as the ungrounded content. And besides that, we are also excited to tell you about this feature, which is enable reasoning that we released recently. So if you click on that, actually you can bring your own AI deployment. Yeah. So I can choose my Indian, go back to GPT-4. Then run the test again. Because actually it will call an Azure OpenAI, so it will require some time to have the results. So you can tell here, when I hover on that, it will show you the ungrounded reason. So like they pay me 10 per hour and it's not unheard of to get a raise in 6 months. And this is actually conflict with your grounding source. And then we can choose another task, which is summarization, because sometimes the use case, like in medical or other industries, we just want to build summarization chatbot. And in this case, we only have 2 boxes, right? One is grounding sources, and the second is completion. So in here, we are still using the same case of the introduction, like the age and other stuff. So you can see the summarization. Obviously, there is a part like 20-year-old is contradicting with our grounding source. But how about others? Let's run the test. Okay, we can see the results is appearing here, and the highlighted part is the ungrounded part, and the rest of them is correct, that is grounded. And if you hover on that, you can also see the ungrounded reason. That is, I'm 21 years old, which contradicts the tagged 20-year-old age. So based on that kind of reason, you can understand how our model is judging on this case. And you can, based on that, to do the further mitigation or programming to show or not show or to rewrite something to your application or endpoint. Okay, so that's the first demo of groundedness, and then I will switch back to the slides here. Yeah, as Andrew just mentioned, we are recently announced a really new feature that is public preview coming soon, which is the customer categories. And I'm so pleased to stand in here to share with you because this is our, actually my personal features that I've been working on. And this feature actually are covering 2 modes, the standard mode and also the rapid mode. This feature will actually help you build up your own safety solution. So, for example, if you have a really clear understanding of the harmful content you want to block or you prevent beforehand, you can use the standard mode to build up a category, which will train for a few hours, and the model can actually understand really well on your context. But if you don't have a really clear definition yet, you can use our rapid mode. And for example, if you are seeing there are some instances coming to your application, and that should be resolved within 1 hour or more quick, then use the rapid mode, which is also be named as a way of instant response to mitigate similar content or topic. So let's now take the Contoso Camping Company as an example. They sell some good camping and hiking products, but they really don't want their website to offer any survival guidance, right? So customers may be interested into this topic, but the companies just not their core expertise. So in this case, I will help them build a customer category called Survival Advice. Okay, so here is my definition of the survival advice. If you can see that, this filter is actually designed to prevent the model from providing survival advice in survival or camping situations. And it actually can prevent the system from something like how to act or behave around wild animals, advice about safe foraging or survival foods, and others. And we're also preparing some samples to help train the model. Actually, you don't need to prepare a lot of the samples, just the 50 should be enough. And then we can put all the samples into a blob URL, which I'm using in here, and then I can copy the definition and URL in my playground to train the model. So here, yeah, that's the thing. And because, as I mentioned, the standard mode of the customer categories actually will take some time to train, and we just skip that because I already pre-trained a model here. So here, the survival advice, let me just click on that, and let me try a prompt. I usually ask, like, how do I run away from a bear? And click on test. Okay, so we can see it's already falls under the category of survival advice. So
great.
How do you feel about that?
That's awesome.
So can you give me some more like prompts you want to try out?
Yeah, how about, let's see if we were camping. How about what kind of plant can I use to treat a wound?
What kind of plant? Okay. I could use to treat a wound, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, it works.
That's great. I think that flexibility is going to be really powerful for our customers.
Thank you so much, Andrew, and thank you so much for your great feedback. And let me switch back to this. And this feature actually for the standard mode, we are actually leveraging the Azure AI language services, which help us to build this kind of cool stuff. And for the rapid mode, it's already available as public preview. And for the first standard mode, you can expect coming soon within end of June. And besides Andrew's love for this feature, we also received another love from our customers, which is the government of South Australia. So they really love this feature, and they're currently building a chatbot for their students. And they believe that our customer categories feature will play a crucial role in prioritizing the safety and the well-being of students in the digital educational environment. Okay, so that's basically all our parts. And next, I will actually invite up one of our great customers who have built a safety system for their copilot with Azure AI Content Safety. Please welcome the Zeeshan Anwar from the New York City Department of Education.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zeeshan. I'm from New York City Department of Education. Just to give a little bit background of what we have done so far, AI being the talk of the town in 2022. And our first reaction when this whole GPT and everything came up, we just said to ban it because we don't know what to do with that. I mean, that was just the initial reaction, the first reaction that we all have. However, while working with our students, teachers, and families and everyone, right, we came to know that this is not something, the technology is not something that we can hide from students. So what do we need to do? We need to embrace it. We need to define it. However, we just need to define it in a way that is a little bit more controllable, that is a little bit much more better for our students, for our teachers right now. We worked and partners with Microsoft, and in January 2023, we started working on some of the POCs of how we need to do that, what kind of content filterization we can do, what kind of stuff that we all can build so that we can provide more meaningful information. We did a first round of proof of concept. We worked with our educators, we worked with our students and get more meaningful feedback, work with the Microsoft team that how to incorporate that information into the ecosystem that we have. And down the road, we went into creating more tools on top of it, that being the Gen AI teaching tool. And then later, now this week, we integrated that with the math solver. So some of the foundational work, some of the thought process on our side was that, what do we need to do when we talked about the AI part, right? We just need to ensure that we develop a tool, we develop a program that in-house a lot of different LLM models that are out there at this point in time. So we had to work with Microsoft because OpenAI and Microsoft had a good collaboration. We were able to get some good LLM model over there, which we deployed into our tenant and see how we can tailor that so that the answers are according to the education system and the education standards that we have right now. What were the challenges? When you talked about presenting the model or presenting these kind of stuff to all the students, by the way, New York City has 1 million kids. So that means when we need to present that to 1 million kids, you'll get a very variety of things. So one of the great challenge that we all felt was that how the model was tailored so that we can give a very meaningful response based on the ecosystem that we have, and B, the infrastructure that we have, it remains within the same ecosystem. Because we have to do a lot of integrations with our data, with our systems, right? And then definitely all the responsible AI tools that we need to build, integrating that with the API, with our tool, will definitely help us. So again, end-to-end, what we did was that we started from a process. We developed, with the help of Microsoft and us, we developed a Gen AI teaching assistant component that integrates with SSO on our side, that integrates with the data, the in-house data and the content that we have. And also that has all the different content filterization that you just see demo a while ago. Being it within the same context, be in what kind of things that we have to ask. Maybe if there is anything inappropriate that if someone will ask, how to control that environment. And then that also produce some kind of a report that we have to produce on the back end. Again, while doing all the Azure Content API that we have used, we found out a very good results. Couple of things. After we roll out the tool, we got a very good feedback from our students and the educators, which I think I believe, I think it's very good if someone is saying that, you know what, because of this tool, I want you to go to school and learn math or learn something which is more meaningful. Let me just show you the tool itself. So I'm logged in right now as the admin, so I have more access of different things. But as you can see, what we have done was that we have done 2 different tools, 2 different models. One, the Open Gen AI, which is the regular Open AI, but again, it's a managed one. It's a grounded. So that means whatever question you have to ask, it has to be within the same content filterization. And then the second part was the algebraic one, which is very much specific to the content which have the New York City Department of Education have. And our teachers, we collected all the content from the teachers. It is like worth of 20 years of different content that the teachers are teaching in our classroom and how we need to do that. Alongside with that, just like any other tool, we have the follow-up so that we can just have a proper interactive way of doing the communication. We have developed the algebraic keyboard so that the students can ask, and those kind of symbols that are not there. Alongside with that, we have the math widget, which has the exact math kind of a thing that if you need to, because we did the integration with the math solver, and that helps up over there. I'm going to go and I'm going to start with something very simple that, hey, as a teacher, if I can come over here and if I can say that, can you help me create a lesson plan? It's going to go back, it's going to pull all this information based on the content that we have and generate something. But however, the basic stuff is fine, but the minute you try to go deep into the more math and complex problem, these LLM tools have a limitation of 50 to 60% of accuracy. And that's where I think it will help us to create more meaningful information with the help of math solver. Right now, I put down an equation which is not like too complex, but it will just give you some idea of what exactly is a step-by-step guidance. With the help of LLM model, with the help of math solver, it will integrate everything and give you a very step-by-step instruction of what needs to do and how you need to do it. Maybe I can type anything which, for example, is not accurate. Don't try this at home. How to kill a cat. So now it's going to go through all the different content filterization that we just talked about. and it's going to just flag that this particular content is not appropriate. Just like that, all the different content and all the different things that we are talking about, which is not appropriate for the students, we blocked it. But this, again, tool definitely help us to, again, solve all those things, be in a conversation with the students and the teachers also, because just like any other chatbot, just like any other LLM tool, I can ask a question, it can give me an answer, and I can keep throwing all these things, and it will give me all meaningful information over there. What we have done on the back end was that we have given power to our teachers that what kind of prompt that they want to give it to the students. One of the things that we have done, because again, we work with all our educators and get all the different feedback coming from them directly. One of the things was that when we are in the class environment, how do we need to tell a student, okay, this is what I'm asking you to think about it, and just ask questions accordingly. So on the back end right now, we give an option to our educators that they can go over there, they can define the temperature, and they can add a couple of simple prompts over here. So that when the student logs in, one of these prompts will keep showing on the front end, so that it will just catch an eye in a way that these kind of things that I have to be asking when I'm interacting with these things. But if I go to the algebraic one, which has more content, which has overall content, other than the prompts, we have all the different documents that we have ingested over here. LLM plus all these documents plus the integration of math solver is something that combines everything, and it's helping us a lot in a way that the answers that we are receiving right now is close to 99% accurate. And that's a big jump as compared to 50 to 60%. And the good thing is, this whole environment is in the same ecosystem that we have, in the same tenant that we have. The data is ours. The training is based on the data that we are doing. The dashboards, the reporting, and everything also remains in the same secure environment that we all have. Sorry, yeah, back to the slides. Thank you. So again, now you know all the different feedback and the codes coming from the students and from the teachers. Again, the tool is very helping them a lot in a very nicer way, in a very controlled environment, in a very manageable environment by using the Azure content filterization and the API that we have ingested the entire component and within the ecosystem that we have. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Zeeshan. I would have loved that in school. I don't know about you. And so cool to see Azure AI Content Safety in action. All right, so we don't have a lot of time, but I do want to talk a little bit about, closing things. And I think we saw, yes, 2 minutes. We saw today Louise and Andrew showed us content filters, how to configure them, how to create custom content, safety, and a lot of new exciting responsible AI capabilities. But it's also very important to evaluate your system. So responsible AI is really an iterative process. It's identify, mitigate, measure, and operate. And we're excited to have an evaluation service in Azure AI Studio that you can use. You can use AI-assisted metrics to evaluate model quality that we discussed earlier on, things like groundedness, coherence, fluency, relevance, how relevant is the content. And we're also excited to have risk and safety. We heard the harms categories before, jailbreak, that you can also evaluate, and you can use everything out of the box. Plus, you can customize pre-built metrics and build your own custom metrics with prompt flow. The last piece is operate. Once you have your mitigations in place, you can monitor over time. You can monitor and understand what model inputs and outputs have triggered the content filters over time. That, again, will inform your mitigations. And that is available in Azure OpenAI Service and soon in Azure AI Studio as well, plus monitoring that will help you understand token usage, generation quality, operational metric trends in prod, and so on. So today we heard a lot about safety, and safety is really teamwork, and it goes hand in hand with security. We're also excited to announce an integration with Purview that's coming soon to equip your applications with industry-leading data security and compliance capabilities, as well as Microsoft Defender leveraging responsible AI prompt shields that we saw earlier on. Security, privacy, and compliance is at the very core of everything we do. And our approach to AI is no different. Your data is your data. It is not used to train models, to improve models. Your data and your AI models are protected at every step. And by using our tools, you're protected through our customer copyright commitment as well. And we heard it yesterday in the keynote. Over 50,000 organizations are using Azure AI today. And we're committed to partnering with you, to helping you to build custom solutions, custom copilots powered by cutting-edge generative AI models with safety and security by design. There's a lot more to learn. We have a ton of resources for you, responsible AI tutorials, videos, templates, documentation to help you get started. And we have funding and resources available through our expert partners and session resources. And Andrew, Louise, and myself will be around. We'll be also in the expert booth in the hub, 5th floor of level 5. We'd love to connect. Please drop by and say hi. Thank you so much.